Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you some Dollar Tree DIYs that are perfect for fall. First up, we're going to be creating a wreath. I grabbed this set of 3 wreath forms from Dollar Tree. Now, if you're unable to find it, there's something similar that Walmart sells in like their floral section, but if you can grab it at Dollar Tree, it's less expensive. We're going to be using the larger wreath form, and I'm just going to start by using my wire cutters to cut it apart. Next, I'm going to add in some wood beads. These are actually larger wood beads than I've used before, and I'm gonna link this new set that I picked up down in the description box. Now, the set I got actually came with quite a few beads. I didn't use but maybe a fourth of the beads for this particular project. I'm just gonna start by stringing all of the beads on. Once you're finished adding in all your wood beads, you're going to add some hot glue to the end of the bead and just hold them together to close it back up. Now, if you want it to be super strong, you could always add in E6000 for that extra bonded hold. With the beads, you could definitely leave them natural, but I decided I wanted to stain them, and I wanted a really dark stain. So I grabbed one of my espresso stains that I had in my collection. I'm gonna use a foam brush to wipe it onto the beads, and then I'll come back in with a paper towel and just pull off any excess stain. Whenever you pull off the excess stain, that's when the wood grain is gonna start showing through, and you're gonna get that dimension in your wood piece. So I really like to make sure I take off any excess stain. If you're not a fan of the dark stain, you could always go lighter and change it up depending on your preference. Once your stain has a chance to dry, you're gonna grab some Dollar Tree stems. I was really excited to find these natural looking stems at my Dollar Tree, so I picked up a couple of them, and I'm gonna be using 2 sets for the base. Anytime you're creating a wreath, you want to think about what you're going to be using as your base, and then you can always add your filler elements on top of it. So these 2 like wood type florals are going to be my base. So I'm going to lay them down on either side of my wreath, hot gluing them in place. I also grabbed some Dollar Tree leaves and pumpkins and wanted to add those in the center. These are those filler pieces that are going to like cover up where you had to glue things. I'm gonna add in these florals and the pumpkins. Now from here, you're gonna take a step back, see what you need to add. I wanted to add it in a few more leaves, and then I also decided to grab some of these acorns that I picked up this fall from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna place those in as well. I'll cut off the excess at the bottom. Once you're happy with the overall appearance, that's all you have to do. And I really love how this wreath turned out. You guys are gonna have to let me know what you think of it. I've been trying to visit my Dollar Tree frequently so I can grab some of the new items to share with you guys. And I was excited to find these white ceramic pumpkins. I felt like they were a little bit larger than what I've normally seen at Dollar Tree, but they also seemed a little boring to me. So I want to spice them up a little bit, although I do love the look of these. So I decided that I was going to add a leaf to each of the pumpkins. So I just grabbed one of my Dollar Tree florals. We all have these sitting around, and I'm going to cut off 3 leaves. Next, I'm going to come in with the color Dried Thyme, which is kind of my green paint that I'm using this fall. In a previous video, I told you that I picked out a fall color scheme. I went to Sherwin-Williams, picked out like 6 fall colors I wanted to use this year, and then I got samples of each of those paints in a flat color. And those are the paints that I've been using for all of my decor. Pretty much anything I'm doing is with these paints. So this is the green paint I'm using this year. So I'm going to paint 2 coats on each of my leaves. Once those dry, I'll just cut off the stems and I'm going to hot glue them onto my pumpkins. And I think it gives it something extra adding those in. I want to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes. Skillshare has classes for creators where you can learn new skills and explore your creativity. I enjoy so many different classes on Skillshare. They have decorating, DIY, sewing, cooking, productivity, really just a ton of different classes. I'm always blown away at how Skillshare keeps updating their classes and adding new each month. One of the classes I recently took was a productivity masterclass, Principles and Tools to Boost Your Productivity by Ali Abdal. And the thing I loved about this was I learned a lot of good tips and tricks to really boost my productivity, but at the same time create that balance in my life that I struggle with. That was just one of the classes that I enjoyed taking, but there's really a ton of options depending on your interest and what you want to learn. Skillshare has premium classes and there's no ads as well. Once you join Skillshare, you can also join some of their live classes so you can interact with the classroom teacher, and this is a new feature they have. Skillshare has a limited time summer promotion where they're giving 1-month trial memberships. Usually it's only 14 days, but they've extended it for 1 month so you can really try out the features and see if it's for you. So if you want to try out Skillshare, now is definitely the time. The first 1,000 of my followers to go down in the description box and click the link, you're going to get a 1-month free trial on Skillshare. You can check it out, see if it's something you're interested in, and if you want to continue on with the membership. So I'll leave everything for you guys down in the description box. So next up, we're going to be creating a rope tray. So you want to grab a clear tray from Dollar Tree. You're also going to grab some nautical rope. Now, Dollar Tree does sell nautical rope, but I prefer to pick it up off of Amazon. It's just cheaper and you get a ton and you can use it for multiple projects. So I'll link to the specific one I use in the description box. So to create this rope tray, you're just going to start in the center, hot gluing it, and you're going to hot glue as you keep tightly wrapping the rope around. Now you want to make sure that there's no gap so you don't see the clear tray underneath, and you want to add just a small bead of glue. You don't want your bead to pop up and you see it outside of your tray.
How did you stop loving me? How is that even possible?
Now once you get to the edge, you want to go around completely so that you cover up all of your tray again. Once it's completely covered up, you're going to take that excess, cut it off, and then you can glue it to the back. Now for this rope tray, I wanted to try painting on it, so I decided to create some circles along the edge. So what I did to start with is I just kind of grabbed some painter's tape and I was eyeballing my spacing around the edge to see how many circles I would need to create. Then I grabbed some cardboard and I just cut out a circle template. This wasn't super precise, I just tried to make it as even as possible. Then I made sure that that cardboard template was going to work all around the edge. Next, I'm going to be using those fall colors that I told you about earlier that I picked up, and I'm just going to randomly select a color to place around on these larger circles.
How could we move on? Why you wanna let me go now? Are you saying that to change your mind? Well, have a pity, let me know now.
Now, whenever you're painting on fabric or rope, you want to make sure you use quite a bit of paint because that fabric and rope are really going to suck up those paints. So make sure you use quite a bit of paint.
Are you saying that to change your mind? Well, have a pity, let me know now. 'Cause you love me.
Now let that completely dry, and then I decided I wanted to go back in and make some smaller circles. I created a new template that I could use that I could place on top of my existing circles. And then I'm just going to come back in with contrasting fall colors and paint those on the existing circles. Once you're done, let that dry, and here's a look at my fall rope tray. Next up, I have a cute $1 craft you guys are gonna have to do. I grabbed this cute little owl from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna paint it with that same green color I showed you guys earlier with 2 coats. Once the owl is dry, I'm gonna grab some of my sandpaper and just take off the excess paint on the raised areas. And then that brown that was underneath is going to come through. Now this is really easy, really quick to do, and here's how it looks styled on my shelf. Whenever I create these Dollar Tree DIYs, they're actually like several days of working on these projects, just from coming up with the ideas, shopping for items, creating the items, doing the voiceover that I'm doing now. So it's actually quite a process. And there's always one project that really just kind of throws me off, or I just struggle with it. For this video, it was this macrame pumpkin. I was having trouble figuring out how to wrap the macrame on there. I really wanted it to be vertical, and it just wasn't working out. So I think I figured out how to do it where it went around horizontally. So you guys will have to let me know what you think of this. So you're gonna grab just any pumpkin you have in your stash. Honestly, this was one that I had that was like leftover from last year. I'm gonna be using the same macrame cord that I use in a lot of my projects, a lot of my wall hangings, and I'll link it for you guys down below. But if you've done any of these similar projects, you probably have this on hand. And I'm gonna start at the base of the pumpkin, wrapping the macrame around kind of like how I did with the nautical rope on the rope tray. You're just gonna start hot gluing and wrapping it around. I'm gonna keep hot gluing, not worrying if I get it down into the grooves of the pumpkin, because I found that it naturally just kind of laid down there as I was going. And the thing I'm gonna do at the end is gonna help that as well. So I'm gonna continue to wrap this around until I get to the top, and I'm gonna hot glue it in place. Next, I wanted to create vertical lines. So I grabbed that same nautical rope and I pulled apart 3 different strands from one piece of nautical rope. I'm gonna hot glue one edge of the string, wrap it around, and then hot glue it to the bottom. Now I did this with 3 strands so that I had 6 vertical stripes. To top it off, I like to use sticks at the top just to add that natural element. So I grabbed a stick from outside. Dollar Tree also has these available, so you can grab those as well. And I just hot glued it to the top. I think in the end, it turned out okay. It was not a fail, but it was a little tricky to figure out. One of the new pumpkins I found this year was this gray pumpkin that I thought was really cute, but to me the gold top just really didn't go with the gray pumpkin. So I decided just to paint this stem. You know, sometimes projects at Dollar Tree can be really simple but make a big difference. So I grabbed some ivory paint that I had from Waverly, and I'm just gonna paint the stem with 2 coats. And check out the difference just painting the stem makes. So this next DIY is gonna be a fall macrame wall hanging. So I wanted it to be very natural. So again, I just went to my backyard, grabbed a stick to use for this project. Now Dollar Tree does sell some yarn, but they didn't have all of the fall colors that I wanted. So I ended up having to grab some additional fall colors. So just grab whatever colors you wanna use. For this one, I used 4 colors. The one thing I would do consistently on a macrame is make sure that you use about the same amount of strings and have them all be about the same length. So I just grabbed something sturdy. This is a cutting mat I had on hand. So I'm gonna wrap each yarn piece around this mat 10 times. I'm gonna start with one color and cut it off at the bottom. Then I'm going to measure my stick to find where the center is, and I'm going to start by adding my pieces to the center. I'm just going to do a simple loop knot with my yarn, and I'm going to add 3 colors to the center. Next, I'm going to wrap the white yarn around this cutting mat so I get 6 bundles all wrapped around with 10 strings. And I'll add those to my macrame.
The night's got a fever to the moon and back, playing loud in the speakers. You and me, can I marry you right away? Oh yeah. Listen to the midnight radio.
I also decided to add in this burnt orange color, so I'm going to do 1 on each side. Now the thing I love about macrame is you just kind of build it as you go. I'm gonna add an additional color to the outside, and you can always come in, add more colors, take away. It's just one of those fun projects to create and imagine as you go. I'm also going to use that cream yarn I did at the end to make a handle on either side. Now you can trim this at the bottom any way that you want. You could cut it at an angle. I decided I wanted it to be really natural, so I'm going to hang it on the wall and just cut it as straight across as I can. So to do that, you kind of want to comb down all the pieces and then just do your best to cut it straight across. And here's how it looks hanging in my house. Dollar Tree definitely has some floral stems out this year that I've been really impressed with. I love the way that these yellow leaves look, so I put them in a grouping in a vase and just think they look so nice. They also have these little tiny pumpkins you can add in as well. For this next project, I grabbed a grouping of bottles from Dollar Tree, and really you could grab anything you want, vases, bottles, whatever look you're going for. And with one of the bottles, I had to take off the silver piece at the top. I really love the look of amber glass, and I found this spray paint online that's like an amber spray paint. I was wondering if I tried the amber look, how it would turn out. So I took all of my glass pieces outside and I'm gonna spray paint them. Now, one of the things I learned is you want to do thin coats and let them dry between each coat. That's going to give you a better indication of how it looks because you want it to have that see-through element to it. I would say in the end I probably did 3 coats, but they were very thin coats. I think these amber bottles look great with your other decor. Add them with some pumpkins and you have a really cute display. You guys are gonna have to let me know which project was your favorite. I love knowing your opinion, so leave it for me down in the comments, and make sure you go down to the description box and check out Skillshare. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I post 2 DIYs each week, and I don't want you to miss any of our fall DIYs. And I'll talk to you guys in our next one. Bye.